This video is sponsored by Manual. Alright guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman's Studio. Today we've got Tom in the chair. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks man, I'm good.
Good.
So, what's the plan? What are we doing?
So I've been growing my hair out from a buzz cut since about October.
Wow. Well done, first of all.
Cheers.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so now it's quite long, to be fair. A little bit, sort of needs a bit more shape, I think, because it kind of just goes back in a tidal wave at the moment. Sort of.
I know you mean. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you've got that there. Okay, cool. So, so when have you not had a cut at all since you've grown it out?
So I was sort of getting skin fades from my mate.
Okay, from your mate, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he a barber?
No, so I cut some of my mate's hair because I learned how to do it in lockdown. Some of your videos, to be fair.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, sort of practiced doing haircuts on them. Sort of taught my mate how to do it as well. And
we've got a spare chair here, mate. If you want to come over here, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, we'll do that. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Pretty much just like taught him how to do the skin fade. So then sort of stopped cutting it in like February, I reckon.
February. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is where we're at now.
That's where it is now.
Cool,
man. So I've got a picture of what sort of
let's have a look.
I'd like from today, maybe like that.
Okay.
And then that's sort of
that kind of idea.
Yeah, it's just kind of similar to how it is now, but just a bit more like texture and sort of shape to it. And maybe eventually get to like sort of that, sort of growing it out a bit longer term.
I think you'd be better with that.
With that?
Yeah. Your hair's a fine texture.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Where Bradley Cooper's is very thick.
Yeah.
Right, I've never cut his hair, but just looking at it, it looks like it's going to be very thick. So with having finer hair, it's easier to create a more natural, messier finish. Because as you can see now, look, you just come in there.
It kind of stays how it is.
It stays how it is, but also look what I can do with it. I'm just running my fingers through it and look how messy I can make it look almost like that by just doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
Creating something like Bradley Cooper, because he's got such thick hair, it kind of gives that kind of like, it's got the height at the front and then it falls into like the big thick curls at the back.
Yeah.
It could work. Yeah. I think, have you ever tried using products that will thicken your hair?
Yes, I do actually, yeah.
Okay.
Because I actually noticed my hair was actually thinning a little bit, like sort of, I don't know, like 6 months ago. Okay. Hopped on like finasteride and minoxidil straight away.
Nice. How have you found the results so far?
Pretty good, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, it's made a massive difference. Like it's.
Have you been? Do you know? Have you been taking a diary of it? I know this might sound crazy, but anyone watching this is really interesting, right? Have you took photographs of your hair since using it?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you noticed the difference?
Definitely, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's only been like a couple months, I reckon.
Okay, but you're noticing a difference in terms of
definitely.
Because do you know what? When you look at your hairline now, you see all these little baby hairs. Yeah, they're probably the ones that are growing back. Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's amazing.
Because I saw I got a load of bald people in my family. I was like,
get on it now. Yeah. Do you know what, mate? Prevention over cure. I mean, the cure is obviously a transplant in the end, right? If you ever want to go down that route, and there are some incredible places to go now. But I think if you can prolong it. Yeah, it's worth it. How old are you? You don't mind me
23.
23.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Not
old enough to lose.
It's quite premature, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite premature. But at the same time, you've jumped on it. Yeah. And you've done a good thing. All right, cool, man. Well, I'm glad you said that because keep it up. Because that gives me a bit more confidence of how we can get to like a long-term goal. Because when people are thinning, it's not always advised to grow your hair long. Yeah. Because the back and sides are always so thick. Now, if you were to get a transplant, they call this bit the donor area. Yeah. Because you take this bit out of here and put it in the top, right? Essentially. I know there's a bit more to it than that. I don't mean to disrespect any hair transplant clinics. But that's essentially what you do, right? Yeah. Because you never lose this bit at the back. Or it's very rare that you lose the bit at the back. Yeah, exactly. So it's the strongest hair, basically, on the head. But when you're using things like finasteride, minoxidil, things like that, that really helps to regrow what you've already got. Yeah. And thicken it as well. So it's good that you jumped on. Yeah. Now,
messing about.
We've actually got some products. We got some products from Manual. Have you ever used Manual?
Cool. No.
I've seen these popping up all over the place, right? And they kindly sent us some over, right? Because we do get a lot of clients who have thinning hair, right? Yeah. And I am blessed that I don't need to use thinning hair products. But I have noticed from when I was in my 20s to my 30s, I'm 37 now. Yeah. So I found that my hair's definitely thinned out a little bit. Yeah. And I've always been trying to think, is it worth trying it? Because everyone thinks my hair's super thick, but it's not. If you felt my hair, it's really not. You know, it's quite coarse and quite not thin, but it's definitely not as thick as it was. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've always been thinking about like the caffeine shampoos, different things like do they actually work? And when Manual sent us this, Liam brought them in today, and I was thinking, there's quite a lot in that. I reckon I could nick that tonight and try that out overnight tonight. Yeah. But they have got products here as well. We've got hair vitamins. They've also got their own finasteride and minoxidil. Yeah. So they've also got that as well. And it comes in a little package as well, which is really good. And it's quite discreet. It's very discreet, in fact.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. A lot of men are quite shy about talking about it.
100%, yeah, definitely.
At the end of the day, it's just a hormone in your body that's making your hair fall out. So,
but at the end of the day, it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the stats are now, but I'm sure it's quite a high percentage of men, and even a high percentage of women as well. It is interesting that you're confident talking about it, because it's always a touchy subject, isn't it? So
because like it's nothing to be scared of, nothing to hide of, is it?
Not at all. No, not at all. Yeah. Well, mate, it's good to know. I think so. In terms of the haircut, maybe we just need to kind of balance it today.
Yeah,
and give you a bit of a balance in haircut.
Yeah.
Because obviously what I'm seeing at the moment is obviously you've got that like loads of length in the back, and then you've got quite a bit here, but obviously the underneath, it's going to be disconnected.
Yeah.
You've essentially got an undercut, but it looks really cool though, like straight on, it looks cool. It's this bit that's bothering me.
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing.
This is the bit that's ruining the whole look for me. But the problem is, it might look good like that, but I see you from here.
Yeah, I don't see you from
all the
back
viewers
there.
see you from here, and a guy over on the tube sees you from here. Yeah. So it's got to be done so it all matches in. So I think if we were to look at whatever the common length is coming on the undercut, on the top, we'll break the sides and the back down, so we'll keep length in there, but we'll just maybe thin it out a little bit and create more movement, more flow, as we try and call it nowadays, where you get like kind of, you see your hands running through it and you get a bit more movement. We'll maybe tidy up the neck here as well, because you see you've got quite a hairy neck, so we'll tidy that up. And maybe raise the middle of the neckline up a bit more as well, so it's a bit more balanced. Because you need to, these bits need to grow out a bit more than the middle, because it does grow like a point almost, like for most people.
I like the way it does that at the back, to be fair.
Like the flicks, the flicks are great, yeah. I've got flicks for the first time in my life, and I'm loving them.
Are you growing out?
Yeah, I'm going to grow mine as well, yeah. I think my last haircut was the same time as yours, February.
Was it,
Yeah, we're in July now, so. But yeah, we'll take the middle bit up, and then we'll take this back down.
Yeah.
All right, and then, because if you look here, the front to the back, it's a little bit different in length.
Yeah,
so I think we use the front as our what we leave, and we connect everything else in from there. But the back, I just want to give you something to kind of give you more texture in the back and sides, ready to thin it out a little bit.
Sounds good.
Sound good, yeah? And then we're going to keep going to the end goal.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Well, let's give this a shampoo. I'm going to use the power shampoo for manual. I want to see what it's like, and I want you to let me know what you think of it as well. And then we'll get started into the cut.
Cool.
So before we get into it, I just want to say a massive thank you to the sponsors of our video today, which is Manual. While a great haircut can disguise a lot of things within somebody's hair, there's only so much a barber can do. Now that's where Manual come in. Now they're a British company, and they are dedicated to becoming the destination for men's health. Manual offer a tailored and medically approved treatment plan for a variety of issues specific to men's health. And the best thing about it all, it's all online. You visit the website, you answer a questionnaire about your medical history, and you receive a treatment recommendation. Your information goes to a specialist doctor on the platform, and from there you are consulted on a specific treatment plan for your case. You receive your products at home on a recurring basis with a medical follow-up throughout. Manual have been kind enough to send us some of their products, which include finasteride and minoxidil as well, so come with me while I unbox them. So guys, this is the package we got from Manual. As you can see, it's very discreet. It doesn't have anything on there of what it is, which is always good. Now it comes very nicely packaged. So we've got hair vitamins, we've got the finasteride as well. Then you've got the minoxidil spray, and also the power shampoo as well. Now, Manual have also been very kind to give you 50% off your first hair loss treatment. So the code's on the screen now, so make sure you use it. Now let's get back to the video where I'm talking some good tips and tricks on receding and thinning hair. Thanks again, Manual.
Good, went to uni at St Mary's.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it was more so there for the athletics, because it's kind of a reason a lot of people go there.
Is that right? Oh, is that right? Yeah. Okay. So is that what you do as well?
Yeah.
Oh, do you? Nice, nice.
So I sort of put my hair back in like a band.
Yeah.
A lot of the time when I'm training.
Nice. Okay. When Liam walked in today, I was sitting, just just like catching up on stuff.
Yeah.
And when I got up to shake his hand, he just went, "Whoa, going for the Jack Grealish vibes today." I was like, "No, I'm not, man. I'm not. This is a bit of a last resort." But no, I can't. Do you know what, mate? Be honest with you. I'm on. You've got a lot more length in your hair. I wish I had a bit more length in mine, like you've got now. But when you're talking about obviously doing like a lot of sports and athletics and stuff, how are you actually finding growing your hair out during that point? Is it annoying you?
I kind of like the way that it just bounces around.
Do you? Oh, okay, that's good. Because that's a common thing I get from clients coming into me going, I do loads of sports, so I can't really grow my hair longer. I'm like, well, you probably can.
Yeah.
You just got to embrace it, haven't you? I think.
Yeah.
A lot of footballers and a lot of like athletes and whatever else have all got quite long hair, haven't they? You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
So normally when I am washing hair, I generally, or like washing my own especially, I normally recommend doing it twice a week. If you can, like Sunday and Wednesday, depend. But that's more for the condition of the hair. But if you're going to use something like this, like the Manual product, you do it daily.
Yeah.
And the reason you do it daily is obviously to stimulate the follicle, right? So you could use this daily if you wanted to, especially because you've got to think of what you're trying to achieve with your hair, right? This is all about growth, strength, everything else with the hair.
Yeah.
So if you were using this daily, then obviously you're using it for a specific reason, right? Just make sure that I would always recommend you putting conditioner on afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure, because obviously when you do whatever you're using shampoo wise, you do always cleanse the hair, right? Obviously there's a reason we're using this today, is to kind of stimulate the follicle.
Yeah.
But you still want to add a little bit of conditioner. Or if you don't want to use a conditioner because you might feel it weighs it down all the time, pop a little bit of leave-in conditioner as well if you need to.
Yeah. I've never actually used that one.
Haven't you?
No. What's it do? Is it just sort of like make it look a bit softer?
Which, the leave-in conditioner?
Yeah.
Leave-in conditioner tends to just sit on the hair and you dry it in, or you leave it to dry naturally.
Okay.
So it doesn't soak in as much because the hair isn't always as warm, right? So you put that on just to help with split ends. It kind of repairs the hair on a daily basis. More the split ends, the middle ends to the ends. Whereas when you condition it, you condition it from the inside out, if you get what I mean. So you leave your conditioner on for 3 minutes, you let that soak in, and you rinse the outer layer off with cool water. That's essentially what you do. So with a leave-in conditioner, you can generally put that on when you've dried your hair slightly, when it's more towel dried. So it's more for like the outer layer of the hair than like the inner part of the hair, essentially. You can see I'm just rinsing the conditioner off, not washing it off like I did with the shampoo. Okay, just a rinse. Okay? The difference, you'll be able to see the difference when it's done, right? So again, using like products such as like the manual shampoo, it just coincides well with the finasteride and the minoxidil. It's something that will coincide with it, kind of giving you the healthier, thicker hair as well. Nice. So now, this is a really important part. Now, anyone watching, hair like Tom's or even just similar, even if you've got hair like mine, right? Please, for the love of God, don't do this with a towel, because it's the worst thing you'll do. You'll cause so much friction, split ends, everything else. Especially if you're not using like a microfiber towel or something like that. You know, t-shirts are always great if you've got like a wave or a curl in your hair, because they're a lot smoother when it comes to it. But all you're doing when you're drying your hair, even when it's just wet or when you've shampooed and conditioned it, is you pat dry first and then you scrunch. And the reason we do this, right, it's not just because I'm being fancy or anything like that at all. It's because we're trying to stop tangle and we're trying to stop frizz.
Yeah.
Okay. So by doing this and scrunching it, when you get a comb, now bear in mind, these are the combs I would generally recommend people to get when they're combing their hair through. So even with the wave and the curl you've got going on now, always comb your hair after you've dried it. Just very lightly. Wide tooth comb, less drag, less pull, less reason for it to snap. Yeah. But just for the sake of why I always show clients, this is my regular cutting comb, right? Now I'm guaranteeing you right now that this will not get tangled in your hair by drying it like this. Okay? So from the front to the back, not a single tangle, because we haven't rubbed it together. Okay, so all the way through, like so. See? Now the beauty of that is as well, we're not losing hair on the comb.
Yeah, that's good too.
Either. Okay, because that's important. You know, everyone does shed. It's a natural thing. We all shed our hair. It's different seasons and whatnot. But it's the snapping that really damages everything. So when if you've got out the shower and you've got your towel and you've just done this, like most people do, right? You're just going to tangle your hair and weave your hair. You might as well just do this and give yourself dreadlocks, because that's essentially what you're going to do if you keep doing it with the longer hair, especially if you're washing it every day. If you're using something like the power shampoo and you're doing it every day, that will just keep tangling, and then you're almost doing more harm, because as you're combing your hair through, or if you're not combing it through, you build up the tangle. And then it'll just snap as you try and comb your hair out. You know what I mean? Or even when you're working it with your fingers in the shower. Yeah. Just make sure that when you are drying it, just pat dry and then scrunch. Yeah. All right. So I'm putting this into a horseshoe section. So start on the right hand side, just combing it from the left hand side into the centre back, so through here, to match up. Now, Tom's got a lovely double crown going on at the back here. Yeah. But the good thing is he's growing his hair out, so it's not going to be a nightmare. So that's good. I bet you when you were a kid, I bet your barbers must have really disliked doing your hair. Yeah.
Well, if you got a bad barber, you'd end up looking like Pikachu.
The only thing you got to do with double crown is just take your time with it. It's as simple as that. Work with the crown. Don't try and fight against the double crown. Now with yours, it's not going to be an issue with this haircut at all, because we're working with the double crown. It's coming back and it's splitting as well. But with your hairstyle that you're going for, it really helps, because it gives you that natural separation through the middle. So you can then make sure everything's kind of symmetrical when you look straight on.
That's really interesting, to be fair. I've never heard anyone say that before.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, I've never been told.
It's a benefit, mate. Yeah, it's a benefit. So, double crowns aren't the enemy, right? They're really not. Cowlicks aren't the enemy, right? It's just finding the right look and also understanding how to control them. It's as simple as that, you know. It just takes experience. It just takes more practice and more time in the job to get used to it. You know what I mean? You have your trial and error.
Yeah.
We've all had our trial and error. I've got a belter cowslick right there, right where that. I've always seen that little white streak there. I've had that white streak since I was about 15.
Really?
Yeah, and it's still there, right? And that's where my cowlick is.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, it was a nightmare. I could never have a fringe. It just used to just stick out like this, you know. Whereas now, it's benefiting me because it's splitting where I want the hair. I'm going to keep a lot of the length on the back and sides, but as we get to the back, as you can see, look at the difference here to here. Okay, so 3 finger width on the sides, 2 finger width on the back. So we want to keep length here and remove length at the back. Okay, pull that out, and then just I'm going to use that bottom bit to match. So just where that undercut is falling, that's going to start to match. And all that's going to do is make the bottom look longer because we haven't got all the length at the top now, disguising the bottom being long. So this type of style works well. This type of like technique works really well because it gives you a chance to change the look of the haircut just by taking a few smaller sections higher up. So it gives it a bit more of a longer finish towards the bottom. Takes us to the back of the ear, which is perfect, and then we can start taking length off with 2 fingers after this section. So this is just something that you've got to put in the memory bank, is that when you get to the behind the ear, it goes to 3 finger sections, okay? There we go. As you can see, as we get to the bottom here, I'm not going to take anything off. We're just matching, see? Now from that section, going for 2 fingers, and this is where we start to take a bit more length off, only because the back is so long. Pull it into the centre, there we go. Don't be alarmed, there's a lot more length coming off, but as you can see, we're matching it up to the bottom, like we were before. See? The nape. Got it into the nape, as you see we match up now to the nape. And from that section, 3 fingers to there. To the middle. Undercut coming away slightly now as well. So we're still matching up to the bottom section. Final section. There we go. Perfect. All nicely balanced. The back and sides cut in, right, and thinned out, right. Again, less is more for this, what we're doing right now. So, doing the nape. Then we move on to the razor for this. As you can see, if we look at the nape, so you've got it longer down the middle, and then the flicks are making it look shorter because they're flicking out. They're probably not, they're probably the same length as here, but I want to kind of give them a bit more balance. On this right down, I'm just going to look at where I think balance is, so I'm going to start from about here, and just take that middle bit off. Starting a bit higher up, and then pressing harder to the point where I want to remove length. Still thinning out, and then I press a bit harder here. Just next to it, there we go, like so. Same on here, starting very light, pressure is very light, and then getting harder and harder and harder until I'm touching the neck. And I pull it off, okay? And just fine tune. And now just using the corner of the razor, just going to fine tune and make that look a bit more natural, like that. As it lifts it up, we do another little check. Just take off bits that we don't need, like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy the sideburns up now. So I'm going to take it from the temple down to the top of the ear. And I'm going to trim this bit here, and that's instantly going to make the hair look longer on the sides. It's always a good little tip in growing your hair out. A little bit of freehand on the sideburns, like so. Just work it up to the top of the ear. Like so, like so. Don't need that. That's not doing any favours.
Yeah, they're well annoying, them little neck hairs.
The neck hairs, yeah. It makes the haircut look untidy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it also makes it look thicker as well at the bottom.
Yeah, it does.
Because there is quite a lot of thick neck hair. What that does is just allows the flicks to be a little bit more isolated, which gives you more flick, essentially. See? The flicks are more prominent now. If you look at the other side, kind of hidden within the neck hair. See? Match it all up, like so. So I'll put a little bit of texture in this with the razor, just working little bits on the back and sides. It's always a nice little technique, gives you a little bit of movement, a little bit of flow, thins out a little bit more as well. Again, we need to, when we've got slightly longer hair, like medium length, with thinner hair when it gets longer, like I was saying at the start, you've got to be kind of careful with how much thinning you've got, because it can sometimes look a little bit too out of balance, and there's not much then us barbers, hairdressers can do really to balance it up. Because obviously, you know, when everyone thinks of thinning hair, they think short. Things that we've done on the channel generally short, right? We've got a couple of clients in as well where they've thinned at the crown. We've done certain haircuts to make it work. But when you're doing something like this, it comes down to product choice. Okay, we need to look at products such as thickening products. Things that you can apply to the hair. Obviously using finasteride and minoxidil, that's perfect. But then when it comes to styling, you've got to think, okay, so what products do I want to use to still give a thicker effect? So styling powders, amazing. Thickening sprays are great. Even some salt sprays are fantastic as well, because you'll still get that kind of thicker feel, thicker finish. I would stay away from products that will give separation, such as pastes, waxes, anything oil-based generally gives a bit of separation, which isn't always great. Pomades as well, because obviously they're probably one of the most water-soluble products you can buy apart from gel. They will add a lot of separation, which again you want to stay away from. And also depending on the look as well. So anything like a pomade, which is a wet look pomade, wouldn't work well for Tom at all. Or wouldn't work well for anybody. Even if Tom came in today and said I want the back and sides nice and short and keep the top, I want to wear classic, like, you know, you think like the kind of 1920s kind of styles or whatever, then you have to be really careful about how you apply the pomade. You probably have to layer it in, for example, because it's all about adding separation. You want to see the teeth marks through the comb to give that finish. But with Tom's hair being so fine, you don't want to see the teeth marks. If anything, you want to see the opposite. So again, opting for like powders, things like that are brilliant to use. All right, the top is now ready to be as balanced as I think we want to. Yeah. But I don't think I want to balance it too much. I think having that slight disconnection is quite nice in your hair. I think it works really well, because I think that's what Timothy Chalamet's is like. I think he's got a disconnection going through it. And especially when it gets a bit longer, there is a disconnection. So when we talk about disconnection, you've got undercut and you've got disconnection, right? To me, they are two completely different styles. Undercuts for me are like short back and sides, long on top. Disconnection, however, I think is different. I think a disconnection can be placed within most hairstyles. For example, with Tom's. So we've got shorter front, longer back, right? But we could connect this in at this height, this 90-degree angle. We could connect this in and remove all that length. Or if we were to drop it down and connect it a bit lower down, so I'm going to use the front as our guide, like we said at the start. There's our front. I'm going to use that. I'm going to drop this down just below halfway. I'm going to use the front as a guide. As I pick this up, I've got a guide from underneath as well, right? I'm going to use the guide from the right hand side and the guide from underneath. I'm going to weight this all the way out. Coming completely parallel to the other side. Right in towards my chest, okay? Like that. Now, that, when you come back, looks lovely blended in, right? You can see it's got a nice bit of flow in there, right? But if I was to pick this up and higher the angle, raise it up, we've got a disconnection. But as we lower it down, we've got a connection. So that is the beauty of this connection, is that we can still create a connection within the hairstyle for Tom, but also allow a disconnection to still be in there, just by the angle we connect it in at. So when we're doing something like we're trying to keep the top long, and that disconnection looks great for Tom, because as we see when he came in, we could just play around with it, well, even anything in his hair. That was because of the shift of the weight and the length in the top was allowing me to kind of isolate the top a bit more to create them kind of like movements and the flicks and whatnot. But we still need to balance it, because I don't think Tom would be able to grow out much longer if the back was the same way as it was compared to the front. So by connecting and balancing the front in, and using the front as our guide, we've allowed us to take more length off as it got towards the back, but still keep the disconnection, still keep the length on the top essentially. But the beauty of a disconnection is it gives you that. It gives you the option to still wear it really messy, but still have some balance within the haircut. So again, the difference with an undercut would be that an undercut would just be one length all the way around, and the underneath would be a lot shorter. So it'd be a lot more noticeable. That's what I find an undercut is, a lot more noticeable than what a disconnection is. Now last section, just off center, because I don't want to wear a center part, I want to wear it quite messy. And give, obviously, we've still got the Bradley Cooper idea in mind as well, not just the Timothy Chalamet. So we're not looking to create a center part. The fringe isn't going to be long enough to connect in, probably just tidy up the bottom here, like that. Again, you'll probably see more length coming off towards the crown as we get to that bit through here. See, the shift in the weight and the length. As you can see, when you pull that back, you've still got what looks like a connection within the haircut. But that's what it is, where the flow comes from. You see it's wet, but when you see it dry, you'll see where we're going. So these type of haircuts don't need to take forever, neither, because you can almost skip through them a little bit, because we're keeping length, but we're still creating a connection within there. So it's a bit of a kind of hack in some ways, I find. That's the same to the side now, so it's all balanced in, right? All we've got to do now is the crown. So what I'm going to do now is working from, I'm going to do diagonal sections here. So coming from our previous section, pull this out, I'm going to work downwards, like so. Guide underneath, guide here, and pulling this. Still angling it down slightly, but not as much, because I don't want to keep all the length at the back. I still need to keep some. I want to keep all the length. I'm going to do like a sort of crisscross. And that'll connect in here, here, and then we'll do the middle. There we go. Slightly thinner sections now, because obviously we're removing more length at the back. Working this right across, like so. To allow for balance, we're allowed to keep length. There's crown there, see them there?
Do you see many of them?
What's that? Yeah, loads, yeah. God, I had 3 crowns once.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was an interesting one, yeah. I've never had that before. I literally only had it once. But it was more like 2.5, really. It wasn't really 3, it was 2.5. It was like 2 crowns and just one kind of appearing just somewhere, I think it was around here somewhere. And pull this out and do the same things we did before. Using our point of reference from the sides. Pulling this out. There we go. Working down to the other point down here. And we've got our 2 guides now. We've got a guide from the left hand side and our guide from underneath. There we go. No way through the top. Just to double check now. Using the front as our guide again. Taking them little dry ends off there. Pulling this out. Take that out. Because of the thickness of Tom's on the top, I'm not going to add any texture to this. I'm going to let the thinner hair create its own texture, like it did when you came in. Alright? The thing I want to do is just check the fringe. Just want to see how that's fallen. So I'm just going to take that just above the recession, just before the apex, just so we try and maintain a lot of length in there. I just want to see how it falls. It's a little bit dry at the end, so I'm just going to take the very, very ends off. To finish off, I'm going to put a little bit of thickening spray into this, okay? Just to give you a nice fuller finish. You don't need a lot, right? Just enough that it's going to give you a bit of a finish to it, okay? Don't need an awful lot.
It smells nice as well.
Smells nice, doesn't it, man?
Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm going to finish with the diffuser as well. It's always a nice way to give you a very natural kind of, again, I think this would be more along the lines of Timothy's kind of finish, I think, for the length you've got. I think that'll be quite a nice finish, all right? So medium speed and a high heat, okay? If you take your head over to the slightly for me like that, and drop some of that hair in. I want these flicks to come out more. I'm looking to create a nice bit of flick, all right? Trying upwards. And that just slightly over from the centre, and that gives a slightly thicker finish too as well. Yeah. Let little bits fall out like that. Now really utilise the diffuser to get these flicks, okay? Right. Gonna finish off with a tiny little bit of hair cream now as well, okay? So what this is going to do is just give you a little bit of a softer finish, all right? So again, still going to work with the thickness. Just going to keep that thickness in there. Just going to let you give you a little bit of movement. So again, I'm only using like a 5p piece size, just enough to kind of coat the hair, like so. Just let that stay as it did when you came in. So it looks very similar, right? Now when you've got a bit of longer hair, what you want to start doing is layering in the products. So don't put loads in. Just start with a pea size amount. Add bits in, okay? So when you want to bring them flicks out, work it through like that. Bring them flicks out like that. See what I mean? Yeah. Make the sides a bit tighter so they stand out a bit more as well. And then lastly, tiny bit more. I'm talking like tiny bits. Work it into the crown.
And that's a cream?
That's a hairstyling cream, yeah.
Cool, I'll get some of that.
So again, it's not like a heavy hold product. It just creates a bit more of a bit more movement within the hair. Smooths it out a little bit. Create a bit more movement in there. Brings out what we were doing really with the razor on the sides as well. That little bit of flow, and also the section and pattern. So you can see the crown isn't mega long, it's more balanced. The flicks are there, everything's kind of staying in place. And again, this is the less is more situation where it just looks tidy, but we can still keep growing out.
Looks good.
Right, so what we'll do, Tom, is you hold that for me, okay? And now I will show you how the back looks now. Lift this up to its eye level. I want you to see yourself in the mirror and see yourself in the back there. So what you've got now is the crown is now balanced. Your crown was down to about here before. Now it's not. But you've got them nice flicks. You can see the texture that's sitting in the back now as well. This is a better lighting on this side here. You see it a bit more from that angle there.
Yeah, it looks a hell of a lot better.
Show them in. Yeah. So you've now got, if you look through your fingers there, you get that flow. Falling in, and you get the flicks as well. So that's been taken up. That was to about here. Really? I took that up, yeah. But it just balances. That's what it just gives you a bit more of a kind of balance at the back, and then the rest of it you just got to keep going with it, mate. But that's it. But I don't think it looks as thin.
Looks good.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, really good.
When you came in, it looks a lot. I think it looks a lot thicker.
Yeah.
But again, what I've done there is I've also moved the part slightly over. So I haven't gone for a centre part. I've just moved it slightly over. So that will give it a bit more fullness. Yeah, just off centre. Yeah.
So you reckon like when you have a double crown, it actually makes that bit look thinner as well?
It can do, because it just separates. If you've got thinner hair and a double crown, it will just split. Yeah. So it will show like you'll almost have like a centre part at the back, and it'll look as though you're thin at the crown, but you're not always thin at the crown. It can just be a double. It can just be a double crown. Nice one. Man. Thank you very much, buddy. Thanks, Tom.
Nice one. Cheers.
Good luck with the growth, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks, man.